Hello, my friend, and welcome to the next episode of the Red Delta Project podcast, where we teach you how to maximize your results with minimalist fitness strategies to help you achieve higher state of fitness independence. My name is Matt Schifferle, founder of the Red Delta Project and author of the books that sponsor these episodes, like Grind Style, Calisthenics, and Fitness Independence. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link down below in the description to the full RDP library on Amazon, or if you're listening to this on the podcast directory of your choice, you can find the entire list of books as well as my free PDF ebooks that you don't even need to give me your email address or anything. It's just click the link and it's yours. You can find all of those at reddeltaproject.com. Today's episode is the miracle of micro workouts. Micro workouts are any kind of workout that ranges from just several seconds to a fairly short amount of time. And it's not just spending less time, it's less energy, it's less money and equipment in many cases, it's also less motivation. And the reason why these micro workouts are so incredibly powerful is because they're low maintenance. Now, low maintenance workouts, I truly believe, are going to be the future of fitness for many people because let's face it, we don't exactly have more time and energy in our hands these days, especially as we're getting even more busy these days. But unfortunately, one of the primary ways that we're approaching exercise and fitness is high maintenance workouts. Workouts that take a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money and equipment and stuff, and these things are just hard to maintain, which is a very big problem because the only way you create and build up the body and abilities you want is through frequency and consistency. If you can't maintain a frequent and consistent, there's no chance in hell. I always say it's like building up a brick wall. You have to keep building up those bricks in order to build up anything substantial. But we also have to recognize that we are constantly bombarded 24/7 by erosive forces in our environment, especially if we have poor lifestyle habits and we're sitting a lot. So we're constantly breaking down. We're losing ground. So in order to build your body and its capabilities up, not only do you have to build up those bricks on a regular basis, you have to do it at a faster rate of speed than you are breaking down, which is a very daunting, challenging thing to do when your only approach is high maintenance. I'm not saying that the high maintenance workouts aren't still valuable. Of course they are. Hell, I was up at Winter Park skiing for 6 hours last Sunday. That's pretty high maintenance. But I'm saying that it's not going to be our primary way of going about things. Think of other areas in your life right now, right? Every time you want to be entertained and you want to watch something fun on a screen, do you always drive to the movie theater? Every time you want to watch a TV show or binge watch Netflix, do you go to the theater? Of course not. You've got it right on your phone. You can even watch quick little videos and stuff on YouTube and stuff that's right there. And that's where most of your daily consumption is probably coming from, is the quick, easy, low maintenance entertainment stuff right there. Of course, you still go to the movies and see what you want to see once in a while, but it's your not main mode of entertainment. It's the same thing with fitness. These small, low maintenance micro workouts are going to be our daily staples. And then we do the bigger, longer stuff when we have the time and the energy and the motivation to really spend big on those bigger, longer things. When I talk about micro workouts to a lot of people, I'm met with two reactions. One is hope and like good things like, oh, wow, that sounds great. Like I'd love to have just a 5-minute daily workout. I'd love to have things that don't take as much out of my day and motivation. But the other reaction is, I don't know, that doesn't really seem like it could be very effective. And there's two things to know about that. One is, of course, it's not very effective. Like you can't get down on the floor, do a couple of quick sets, call it a day, and expect much from just that. And it's because it doesn't do a whole lot. But here's the other thing to consider, is those long, high maintenance workouts, they don't do very much either. And that's because, again, it only builds up with repetition over time. A single workout doesn't really amount to a hell of beans if you can't do it a lot, very frequently for long periods of time. It's the frequency and consistency that gives it its overall influential power. The other reason why people are skeptical is because a lot of our approach to health and fitness is based on a very flawed premise on what we think causes the body to change, which is now starting to become more evident that it's more of a correlation than a causation. And that correlation or causation is the idea that the body changes because we stress it out a lot. We wear it out. We burn it down with fatigue. So usually, when it comes to working out, our strategy is we either need a workout with a lot of intensity, with low time, like you hear HIIT training and stuff, it's great. A lot of intensity, all out. You don't need a lot of time, good. But that still is high maintenance because it requires a lot of motivation and effort on your part. Or we go on the other side with higher volume stuff, right? Lower intensity, you're pacing yourself, you're not going quite to failure and stuff. Higher volume, but now you're looking at higher maintenance from a time perspective. Either way, the objective is the same. Make your body really tired, wear out the muscle. Even I've always said high fatigue. And that's not to say that stress and fatigue isn't an important influence in stimulating change, but that's the key word, stimulus. We change because we invoke a stimulus in our body, not stress and fatigue. And now we're starting to come to the understanding that stress and fatigue and being tired and sore and feeling worn out after our workouts is more of a correlation with a stimulus rather than the actual cause. Especially some of the research that's coming down the pipe these days is they're trying to isolate some of those stressors when the body breaks down, and when they do in a lab, they don't have progressive change. Because the old idea is your body gets stressed, it gets knocked down a few pegs, it builds back up and recovers, and then it does something called supercompensation, where it goes slightly above and beyond where it was before. But now they're taking, like athletes and stuff, they're tearing their muscles down, they're wearing them out, they're making them go to failure and all these other sorts of things. And they're knocked down, they got more protein synthesis, they got more recovery, more APOC and all that, and they're like, good. And then they go right back to where they were, but there's no net gain in some of these cases. I got a couple links down below if you want to look more into some of that interesting research and stuff. So now the research is starting to point to maybe the whole stress and fatigue sort of thing is more of a correlation than an actual causation. And this, to me, makes all the sense in the world, because your body doesn't change because you wear it out and make it really tired. It changes because you invoke a stimulus, and that's the difference between training versus working out. Working out, your objective is to make yourself tired and worn out, which takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of motivation. High maintenance. But if you really want to make your body change, you don't need a workout, you need training. Training is a little different because when you are training, you're not necessarily basing it on tired and fatigue and muscle burn and all that. What you're doing instead is you're saying, I need to tell my body to operate at a higher level. And the stimulus that you can do, that creates that, can only come from your thoughts and concentration. It doesn't come from making yourself tired. You can work out for years, go to failure every set, push yourself until you're crawling out of the gym every time, and beyond an initial change, you'll make no progress whatsoever because the stimulus isn't progressive. But the great thing about stimulus is it's independent to some degree of intensity and time. Now, sometimes stimulus does depend on time and intensity, depending on, like, I need to create a stimulus to be able to run for an hour. Okay, then you need to run for an hour. But for a large degree, stimulation is independent of intensity and time. Because all the stimulus is your brain telling your body what to do. And if the two are level in a homeostatic balance, then you have a stimulus for maintenance, but not progressive. If you want your body to change, you need a progressive stimulus. And the only way you can do that is your brain says, hey body, step it up. I need you to go to the next level. It's like Kirk, in the Enterprise. More power, Scotty. I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. That creates a stimulus for change. And you can make that happen in 10 seconds. You do not need to be tired for that to happen. You do not need to push yourself until you're crawling out of the gym. But on the flip side, you also can work out for years as hard as possible and never create a progressive stimulus. Therefore, you'll never change. So when we're looking at micro workouts, our attention isn't on making ourselves tired, it's about creating a progressive stimulus. And that's where you're saying, I need you to do something at a slightly higher level, whatever that is. And of course, that depends on your goals, it depends on the training that you're doing. But the second your brain says, I need you to step up your performance, you create that stimulus. And yes, many times that will create stress. That will make you tired. If you run up, the Manitou incline and you do it in an hour, and then over time you're like, I need to do it in under 45 minutes, that's a stimulus. That's saying I need to do it faster. I need to move my feet quicker. That's a stimulus. And that's gonna make you tired. That Manitou incline is no joke. A lot of people never even get to the top. So the stimulus can come with stress, it can come from fatigue, but we have to make sure that we're not mistaking the fatigue as the actual stimulus. Instead, it's getting to the top and saying, all right, I made it in 2 minutes faster than last time. Yes, that's the thing that creates the actual change. Again, whether it takes 5 minutes, 5 hours, or whatever. The last thing that we want to recognize is the stimulus is always functional. You cannot create an aesthetic stimulus, which I know people don't like to hear. And it's frustrating the first time you come across it because so much of our fitness culture is based on making our bodies look better. I want to shrink, build, sculpt, tone, and make my body physically look different. But there's no such thing as a direct stimulus for aesthetic change. It's because the only stimulus there is one for functional demand. Hey body, I need you to do something better. There's no such thing as getting on a treadmill and saying, I need you to look different. I need you to be leaner or anything. That stimulus, that direct stimulus simply does not exist. It's just a myth we made up with all of our marketing and mumbo jumbo in our fitness culture, because right now we're surrounded by this idea of if you train a certain way, you can make your body look different in shape and sculpt and tone and all that sort of thing. But that idea doesn't exist based on science. It exists because that's what sells. And it's become so pervasive, we've just come to accept it. But not that you can't do it. I'm sure a lot of you right now are like, but you've got bodybuilders, you've got people who look great after working out. Yes, you can influence your body's appearance through many different things: training, diet, sleep, genetics. In order to change the physical appearance of the body, it can be done, but it's not right directly through exercise. If you do bicep curls, you're not necessarily telling your biceps to be bigger. You're telling your biceps, I need you to be able to do bicep curls. That's the actual stimulus you're creating. But that stimulus can then be used as an influence, amongst other things, to help you build muscle, which that's for another topic and stuff. But always remember that the stimulus is only when your mind is creating a functional demand of saying, this is how I did it before, now I'm trying to do a little tiny bit better, whether it's more range of motion, better stability, better tension control, more reps, just something a little bit better. Because when you create that demand for functional ability, you create a stimulus, and it doesn't matter if it takes you 5 seconds, 5 hours, whatever. The second you have that, your training becomes effective for changing how your body functions. And that can happen very, very quickly. And especially if you have it consistently, now you're getting practice like grease the groove, and that can add up a lot faster and change your body a hell of a lot quicker. All right, next week I'm going to talk more about that functional stimulus versus the myth of the aesthetic stimulus and stuff. If you want to learn more about that though, check out my book, Fitness Independence. I got a whole chapter based on that as well. Thoughts, questions down below in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this through your favorite podcast directory, thank you so much for listening. As always, I appreciate your reviews. And don't forget, I've got books and free ebooks and stuff for you at reddeltaproject.com. I'll talk to you next week. Be fit, live free.